Welcome to HD Nation, your guide to the best in HD content and the best in home theater gear, no matter what your budget is. I'm Patrick Norton.
Hey, and I'm Robert Heron.
We've got a lot of great stuff coming up in today's show, but first we should talk about some good news and some bad news for all you home theater and HD geeks out there. DDN is putting the show on hiatus, which is kind of like when your mom tells you to the dog when you go live on Uncle Robert's farm.
Hey, look, we will still be taking your HD audio and home theater questions.
Yeah.
Tweet us this information. Hit me up at Robert Heron, at Patrick Norton. That's how you get a hold of us on Twitter. Also, if you want to get your home theater geek on, ping me at my own website, heronsfidelity.com. I'm going to be posting more content there than I have been lately, and I've already started updating it. And
cool.
That'll be a good way to see what it is I'm working on right now.
And someday I'm even going to have something posted on patricknorton.com. I just have to finish building the site first. Haha. Someday I'll have a website. It's only been like a decade now.
You've got the domain. You're halfway there.
This internet thing is a fad, man. Quite a few of you tweeted or emailed about Logitech's new K830, aka the Illuminated Living-Room Keyboard K830. The announcement hit a few days after we reviewed Logitech's Harmony Smart Keyboard, which does not have a backlit keyboard. It's pretty fancy. It's pretty stylish. Effortless PC to TV navigation, even in the dark. Auto dims when you're using it. If it's daylight out, well, it doesn't need to have light, right? So obviously, if it's light out, you know, it's dark out. It's not a universal remote. It's home theater, HDTV specific. $100 later this month. There's a really cool graph from the folks at Logitech, which I just made small, make it big again. And it's like, use the Logitech Illuminated Keyboard 830 to control a computer connected to the TV. Use the Harmony Smart Keyboard to control a PC connected to the TV, as well as other streaming media devices like the Roku and Xbox One. So I like the fact that they're trying to make it as simple as possible for people trying to make the decision. Now I just want to see the illuminated technology brought to the Harmony Smart Keyboard.
Totally. And they just released an update, too, that will add support for the new Amazon device, the Fire TV product. So, you know, it's good to see them adding that support built right in, including the ability to use your smartphone as the voice communicator with the Fire TV device. So good. Updates are coming. More products being supported. You still don't have full voice search across the whole platform, but that's not Harmony's problem. That's the Fire TV folks now.
There you have it.
I got a brand new modern Blu-ray player sitting here in front of me, and I just got to point out that these players do a lot more than just playing discs, and the brand new Samsung BD-H6500 is really a prime example of really what has become a common home theater appliance that now is stuffed with a useful bag of tricks. We're talking a svelte, a little bit over 1 pound for this $180 Blu-ray player.
I want to point out, he really did leave the plastic on like grandma.
I really did. Just the dust and protection, and for fingerprints. Lightweight, like I said, a hair over a pound. It's a ridiculous lightweight box of air. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to. The rounded corner design. It also has controls on the top of it, so this will be at the top of your AV home component stack. Also, comes with a nifty backlit remote control, so using it in the dark is pretty easy. And sure, the H6500 is a 2160p up-converting champ with auto 24p DVD conversion. That's something I talk about quite a bit when I talk about Blu-ray players. And it also runs apps you love, like Facebook, Twitter, Pandora, Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, MLB TV, and so much more. HDMI output. Actually, only digital outputs on this particular product, no analog whatsoever. Also, the drive is combo CD, DVD, Blu-ray, and it has built-in Wi-Fi and Ethernet networking. And what really kind of got me was that it has a decent web browser built in. But you know what? Really, what is the use of all of that computing goodness without simplified controls? And I have to say that the H6500 also has remarkably decent mouse and keyboard support. Yes, mouse and keyboard. I've actually hooked up a USB hub to the player, along with a corded mouse and a wireless keyboard.
Oh, that's funny.
And I gotta say, the first thing I noticed was that I was getting good support. Well, there's the cursor using the mouse. This got to the point of ridiculousness where the quality of the browser with its Java support, you know, being able to watch things like a YouTube video, surf our own web pages like my own, and this is a multi-tab browser too, so let me pop open a few things here. Whoop, while my page is loading up.
So it's not exactly a Chromebook, but it's pretty much a functioning computer.
Let me just go to revision3.com. Oh, that's the other thing too. The tab key, if there's one thing I could say, doesn't work. So you have to use the mouse to go everywhere, but
the performance is not spectacular. Actually, the performance is not bad.
It isn't. We'll see how fast that loads up. That actually was really quick. But when I tried sites like, web games, that got a little slow, but it worked just fine. When I was streaming my favorite race this weekend for MotoGP, that was coming through in 720p in smooth streaming quality.
Wow.
I was actually quite shocked about that. And I'm really looking at this as, well, if I've got guests coming over to the house, this might be the computer that they're going to use in terms of just basic internet. They can check their email, do their other things, stay off my computer. But really, this is a great Blu-ray player, multi-disc player, but that built-in browser function just adds a little bit to it that just for me is it's something quite good. You know, between that and the bookmarks and just good general web usage, it's enough, I think, for the guests that are be staying in my house. If I could ask for one hardware tweak on this, I would like to see another USB port on the back. There's one single USB port up front. Maybe next time they'll do that. They should add another one on there, considering how close this is coming to just an internet appliance, really. Good automatic video format and resolution detection as well. I've connected this to standard def, extended standard def TVs, as well as 1080p screens and 4K screens like the F9000 right behind me. It just detects everything. And in general, the player is set up for auto detection. However, if you wanted a specific 4K format to output, it doesn't offer that. It's just simply auto or off. And although I didn't run into any issues with that, it's something where I would like to be able to say, you know what, I'd like to try to force a particular resolution with a misbehaving TV or something like that. But that's pretty minor. It worked with all the 4K screens I tried it with and the UHD screens. And for that, you know, setup was simple.
I do want to say, if you decide to put this on top of your media stack, do me a favor, don't put it directly above your AV receiver. The heat from AV receivers seems to slowly but almost invariably destroy Blu-ray players over time. I'm kind of torn because I love the fact that they put the controls on top of this, but I would much rather have them on the front so I could easily stack it below my AV receiver.
You know, if you did it right too, the control should stay out of the way. If you had to stack something on this, at least the foot of whatever component would rest on top, and you still have the remote.
Right.
So it's not saying you can't stack something on this, but yeah, you're right. Having the controls on the top kind of negates the whole idea.
So essentially you're paying $90 to $100 more than a Blu-ray player that mostly plays Blu-rays and kind of does a mediocre job with Netflix.
Yeah,
is that pretty much what
the
we're
other
looking
apps
at here?
too. And for that, it was also the performance. This came closer to like what I get out of my Android cell phone device than I would say some lesser players than that. Also too, you're really also paying for the upscaling conversion process built into this player. Stuff like DVDs where you're a DVD upscaled to UHD resolution or 2160p. You're talking 24 pixels approximately for every 1 pixel of DVD video being virtually created. So that's a lot of number crunching. Right. And generally, everything I threw at this as far as my standard def and high def content, it scaled really well to UHD resolution. And that was really where I found it phenomenal. I didn't run into any technical issues as far as signal processing, especially with stuff that's formatted. And I briefly mentioned earlier how DVDs, technically, even though on the disc it is done in an interlaced format, how it's stored on the disc, it is still containing enough information to recreate the original 24p signal that was used to create that DVD. And some players allow you to then output, say, upscaled 24p output from those DVDs. Panasonic was the first to really do this in any consistency, but they always made it an optional feature that never stuck. You had to enable it every time. This has an auto setting where you set it once, forget about it, and then every DVD you ever put in, well, if possible, if it has that original film-based signaling on it, it will convert that back to 24p and spit it out at whatever upscaled resolution you want. That was really convenient, and that's something that I begged Panasonic to do forever, and I don't believe they still have, but this is doing it, and it did it well, and it worked with every disc I have, and I didn't have to enable it every time. And it's really, the mouse keyboard for me was probably the biggest surprise here. It was just being able to have that, along with decent performance for navigating menus and things like that. It's got the oomph to actually provide a browser experience that basically made email, light gaming, and solid video streaming pretty effective, and I really loved it for that. And besides that, yeah, it is pricey compared to some other Blu-ray players out there. You can get a good Blu-ray player for under $100. This is pushing closer to $180 online right now. And otherwise, I have to say,
giant DVD collection, 4K screens, huge 75-inch, 60-inch, 1080p screens. This would be worth spending the extra cash on.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Again, too, this is also digital only.
Right.
It has an optical output and it has an HDMI output and your network connection. So if you're looking for something that'll do analog audio conversion or provide analog audio output, this is not the player for you. But for the digital folks out there, it's a great upconverting player. When it comes to testing display devices, be it the one right behind me or even PC displays, it could be anything. Monitors, HD TVs, projectors. There's a timeless adage that says crap in, crap out, and it really continues to hold fast. Feeding a quality video signal to the display is the first step toward making a fair assessment about that display. And sure, a decent Blu-ray player like the H6500 and a good test disc can provide that necessary on-screen visual for a proper evaluation, but manually switching through, say, 10, 20 or more individual test screens on a disc player is tedious, and it can be prone to errors, usually, the person holding the remote. Now, if you're serious about testing a video display system, a dedicated test pattern generator, or TPG, increases the accuracy and speed of the job at hand, and DVDO has a brand new AVLab TPG that delivers digital video goodness from a package that literally fits in your back pocket, and that's what Patrick's holding right there. A well-manufactured puck, I call that thing. Size, it is small, but it's heavy.
It's dense.
It's dense, and heavy is good. Heavy is reliable. It has a convenient pass-through HDMI design on it. You can actually slip this into the video stream and have it overlay on top of whatever source device you're currently using. It incorporates MHL technology for basically charging your mobile device and working with your display systems as well. 2 control buttons on the unit itself, one that switches the test patterns, the other one changing the resolution and formats from your extended standard def all the way on up. We just went through 1080p and 2160p 24 coming right out of that. Now, the big deal about a test pattern generator like that is that it's dynamic and controllable via USB. Now, if you're using a software package like CalMan or ChromaPure or a few of the other popular test software packages out there for calibrating and testing display devices, this can tie right into it and be controlled through that software interface to further automate your setup and testing. And it's the speed and the accuracy that really comes into play there.
It's much nicer than sitting here and hitting, oh, wait, almost there.
There is a full remote that comes with it too that allows you to access the internal menu system. It gives you far more direct control options as well as direct access to some of the colors and test patterns. What they include, though, right in the box is pretty much everything you'd need to get it going. An HDMI cable, micro USB power adapter, also a micro USB cable as well for connecting to the computer, and the padded travel pouch is around here somewhere, but it keeps it all protected if you're spending a good chunk of money on a test pattern generator. That's the way to do it.
Is it affordable? Can consumers afford this, or is it more of a professional tool?
This is more of a professional tool. If you're just doing basic stuff as far as calibrating and testing, you can get away with a disc, a low-cost disc, and a Blu-ray player or something like that. This, on the other hand, incorporates dozens of built-in test patterns that incorporate that cover everything from scaling, sharpness, focus, color bars, also your signal format options. This allows you to, with a press of a button, scale from 480p up to 4K and UHD as well. True 4K too, if you're dealing with a projection system that is a 4K device. Formats for refresh rates include the common ones you'd expect, 24, 30, 50, 60, depending on if you're in Europe or not. Sure. Really, the only thing I found missing was direct triplet input. What the hell does that mean? Now, let me just show you a quick screen on, wrong mouse.
So many mice.
So many. I often show you the CalMan software package, and one of the things I do is I'll measure the grayscales, and this thing could spit out each one of these. It put up a 10, a 20, a 30% window, 40. But when it comes to stuff like checking color, I'm testing a variety of different colors here, and the way these colors are generated mathematically is by creating a triplet, a number for red, blue, and green that shows how much of each gets mixed together. Your standard disc isn't able to just dynamically create a specific color using 3 numbers. If it's not on the disc encoded already, you're not going to be able to put it on the screen. This, on the other hand, can be programmed to say, you know what, I need a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and no green, or no blue, and that would give me, whatever color that might be. Very specific color selection if you need it. And that's where it comes from as far as what a triplet is and what it will do for you in terms of how you use it in test setup. And unless you have some kind of test pattern generator, there's really no way to do that kind of testing directly. You'd be just skipping tests like that if you're analyzing a display device. Also, I asked for, making this D-pad on the remote. I found it a little bit underused. I thought they could have, instead of the small buttons right above there for navigating some of the menu stuff, they should be using the larger buttons to make it a little easier. And guess what? They're actually thinking about incorporating that very change into the software because this is a software updatable box. And that's another thing. I really liked how DVDO's AVLab's TPG, it sped up my 4K format testing and HD testing as well. However, it is new hardware, and the TPG already had its first firmware update.
Right.
And the app-specific updates, like for CalMan and other software packages, are coming along. One of the original issues was pretty critical, but they addressed it quickly. And if I have learned anything about calibration hardware over the years, it doesn't matter how good or expensive your gear is, double check your results against a known source. And if you want to speed up your calibration workflow, you really got to start looking at something like a good dedicated test pattern generator like AVLab's TPG to get that serious work done and save you some serious time. That's the big deal.
How much?
$1,300.
So
list price. It's not cheap. Not at all. But like I said, it incorporates a lot into a box like this. There are some do-it-yourself projects out there that are significantly less expensive, but you don't have the backing of a company saying, you know what, we verified what's coming out of this box. We're supporting it for the life of the hardware.
Well, you built like a Raspberry Pi into a signal generator.
You can do that too, and I did that for far less than this costs. But if you're not into that sort of, hacking and slaying and getting it done, this is a good piece of kit to have just because of what it does and the size of it, and it's ready to go for all the latest display technologies, at least as far as digital and up to UHD 4K resolution format support.
Future-proofed.
Yes!
At least until 8K.
Yes.
Speaking of 8K and calibration, why not check out our sponsor, lynda.com. They offer tons of professional courses on a wide array of software. They even have a section on how to calibrate your monitor so that your Photoshop projects look right. Ladies and gentlemen, lynda.com/HDNation. Notable new releases on Blu-ray this week include The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Audiences love it a lot more than critics. Tomato Meter puts it at 49% and 74%. Audience 74, critics 49, 43. If you go to the short list of top critics, it's Ben Stiller's take on the classic James Thurber story of the ultimate daydreamer attempting to save the day and win his girl, first brought to the screen by Danny Kaye in 1947. It's a very short story to make a feature film around. If you're a fan of Thurber, you'll probably hate it, but if you're a fan of Stiller, you'll definitely want to check this one out. I got to give props to Universal Studios for restoring and releasing two incredible film noirs, Double Indemnity and Touch of Evil. These are classics. Double Indemnity, Billy Wilder directing and writing, Raymond Chandler writing. They put Barbara Stanwyck and Fred McMurray through hell after a perfect murder goes wrong. Edward G. Robinson kills it as an insurance investigator. Really, Edward G. Robinson, it's an amazing film, incredible writing. John Seitz, the cinematographer that shot Sunset Boulevard, did some incredible work with some very hard light and some very dark rooms and invented a lot of the sort of cinematic grammar we think of around people being really evil. I'm not making it sound nearly as cool as it is. Touch of Evil, I first saw Touch of Evil in a film studies class as a follow-up to Citizen Kane, the Orson Welles classic. The bootleg VHS tape my professor lovingly cradled into the VCR gave not a hint about the utter weirdness that was about to hit the screen. Black and white, noir, surreal, Touch of Evil, freaking baskets of evil. The story of a corrupt American officer played by Orson Welles trying to pin a murder on an upstanding Mexican law officer played earnestly, if with just peculiarly, by Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston as a Mexican is just an odd choice, even for that time period. We will never know what Orson Welles could have done if he'd gotten to finish editing the film, but the opening shot alone is a minor education in using a camera to tell a story, and the restoration is really an attempt to deliver Welles' vision. Both transfers outstanding, and the mono soundtracks true to the time period. If you are interested in classic cinema, these are incredible Blu-rays to check out. One last film before we go, Breaking the Waves. Introduced Emily Watson, an exquisite actress in a beautifully shot, and at least for me, emotionally scathing film. It is a classic that I've never been able to finish watching because it's just that brutal. Lars von Trier is incredibly talented and incredibly ruthless when he's directing. I don't know how else to describe that one, but it's an incredible, incredible, incredible movie that I will never finish watching, I think. It's been like 5 years since I last tried, so
a must-have in the library. Just subject
I don't know if it's a
yourself to it.
must-have in the library, but if you're into serious cinema that might leave you weeping, it's up there. By the way, Rest Repo is still around on Netflix. Last time I checked, that's an incredible documentary that's worth checking out.
The emotion of the experience.
Oh my goodness. Hey, that's it for this episode of HD Nation. Please come check us out. HeronFidelity.com.
Do it up.
At Robert Heron, at Patrick Norton, email techzilla at Risen3.com. We will do our best to answer your questions in the future. We just won't be doing it right here.
There you go.
Take care, folks. Thanks for watching.
Until next time.